welcome to episode 47 of my POA podcast, Black Hand and Beyond. I'm your host, Kent Rourke. We come to you as many Tuesday nights as we can here from Enid, Oklahoma. We're coming live to you from Jackson's Auto Family, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram. They also have a store in Kingfisher that sells Chevy, GMC, and Buick. So if you're needing a vehicle, please contact us. We have great delivery plans because we do sell to a lot of people from out of state. Or if you want to come on in, fly in, we'll pick you up in Oklahoma City, or come visit Enid. We'll show you a night on the town before you drive your vehicle home. So, and there's also, we have a great inventory right now, and Jackson's family doesn't believe in marking anything over sticker. So we're selling quite a bit right now, keeping up with the times. And I want to thank the Jackson's family for providing this studio for me and in turn for POA, basically, so we can help keep the history alive and bring you current things that's happening as well. So we have a very special guest tonight. A little later on, we're going to be talking with Dave Morris, hopefully. And I'm going to be giving him a call. And of course, Dave is 2D's POAs, and Dave and Bonnie lived in Edmond, Oklahoma, and raised quite a few POAs, and then they had a blended family, and then their son together, Tommy Morris, was basically born into POAs. And I just had two requests for the POA history page, and it was Colin and Shane Hampton. That's Susie Crane Hampton's two kids. So that was pretty cool. I got them on just now. Hopefully they're watching this live. We are ready. Okay, so that's good. Susie just sent me a message and said they're ready. So I'm trying to find it online here. Anyway, so the episode, like I say, is 2D's POAs, Dave and Bonnie Morris. If you know Dave, you know he's a historian like me, and he's done a lot of research on POAs and done a lot of stuff with Indianapolis and the home office. He was a board of director for many years. And but tonight we're going to kind of talk about their program, some of the POAs they had that they bred, and some of the show POAs they had. It's going to be a little shorter show tonight. We may do another episode with a lot more pictures. I don't have a lot of pictures on here tonight, and I know Dave's been a little under the weather for a while, so we're not going to talk for hours. We're just probably going to have like a half an hour show, and some of that's going to be on things at first here before I get into the 2D's subject. So just some housekeeping things. If you noticed on Facebook, we are selling the Spots Included Legendary Sires of the POA Breed book. We unearthed some. They're first edition still, so we were lucky to find some more that's around. We thought we were down to the last box when we sold some, but there is a few more left. Of course, I wrote this book in the 2000s. It was published in 2009. Look at that guy in the back there. I wish I looked like that now at 50, but anyway, those are available for $28 plus shipping. Shipping's went up since we started selling them in October. Unbelievably, it went up $1. But anyway, there's a $10 shipping fee, and we'll ship it to you for that price anywhere in the lower 48 United States. So also next week, I'm not sure if I'll do a show or not. The week we might yet. The week after that, we're going to be in Pennsylvania, Monica and I, to visit her family in Reading, Pennsylvania. We've went out there several times. Of course, Monica lived out in Reading for a while, even though she grew up in Enid here. And so the Schuylkill Valley Northeast Meetup, I'm calling it. It's like a little reunion. Everyone's invited that can make it. It's at the Wyomissing restaurant and bakery there, right near Reading. They have a room there. I'm not sure how many people we're going to have. We've had about 10 people kind of confirm. Hopefully we get 20 or so people. I know a lot of Danny Boy fans will be there, and some other people that showed POA in that area. Of course, Terry Strauss is right in that area. So we should have a good turnout, and it should be a lot of fun that day. That'll be at 2 o'clock. Okay, there I see we're live. That'll be at 2 o'clock right outside of Reading there, and Wyomissing, I think, is how they pronounce that. Monica's hopefully watching, and she can comment if I'm saying that wrong. Hi, Jan, you're on. David Wood's on. Hello, Susie, we are here. Good. Stand by patiently. I'll be calling Dave's cell phone in a minute. Tracy's on, of course. and Monica, Janelle, 13 other people. Hey, we got a good crowd tonight. Thank you guys for tuning into this. Also, of course, sponsorships. Tonight we have a sponsorship, again, the second time they've done an ROM sponsor, and that's Denny and Renee Brown from Indiana, DNR Farm. Of course, they've had some legendary POAs over the years and showed. Denny was on the board. Renee's always was a great shower in POA and went on to show quarter horses and stuff. I think she was in Oklahoma this week watching the quarter horse show. So thank you for your sponsorship in honor of 2D's Skipper Babe, who's buried on their place, just like Doc's Foxy Lady is that we talked about a couple weeks ago. So again, we'll be seeing a picture of her in this episode, several pictures. But one with Danny and Renee's niece. The big episode coming up, of course, is the Stallion roster episode. That's going to be 12/20. We did that last year, so this is the second annual. I had 20 Stallions last year. We might even have a little more this year. I'm not going to try to get too many. I mean, if we have 20, 25, that'll probably be good because I talk for so many minutes on each one, show 5 pictures and a pedigree. So just contact me for more information on that. Last year's show was very successful. It's got about 1,500 episodes, and that's before it's hit YouTube. We're trying to get the episodes on YouTube. My beautiful wife Monica has been doing a great job getting them on there. She has about, I think, 10 or more on, maybe 20 of the 40, like tonight's episode 47. So once they're on YouTube, that's just going to help the exposure for POA, I believe. And I might be biased, but I think there's some great material in some of these podcasts, some cool topics like tonight, and some very good, knowledgeable guests over the past year that we've been doing this, almost 2 years now. So, and then of course, another great episode we're going to have is December 6th, priming up for Christmas. The Gardner family, Rock and Y in Utah. Mike and his family hopefully are going to be live via video. We haven't did that before on here, so they'll be my guinea pigs a little bit, but I got a vision of this episode, how I hope it plays out. They're just a great family. Of course, nice family, great breeders. They've owned some good POAs too that they bought over the years, especially when they first started out. So we'll be talking about some of those that some people may have forgot, and then how they've implemented that into their program, and they're still one of the strongest programs going today. So that's everything we kind of got looking forward to. Today is kind of a cool day in history for POAs. A lot of birthdays today. I want to make sure I wish happy birthday to Tracy Sweet Keen, Tammy Verzi, Mark Borjan, and Amy Rupplinger Searle. All their birthdays are today, so we put a tribute to them with some pictures on the POA history group. Hopefully you've seen that and liked that. So all 4 special POA people right there, and I know most of them watch the show. So again, happy birthday to you guys. Again, thank you everybody who's watching the shows. I hope you liked the Art of POA show last week. I created that one, my brainchild. It was one of my favorite shows, and we had a lot of viewers, and we're getting more viewers on it all the time. So thank you again for that. I'm going to get off the live feed here, and I'm going to give Dave a call. So Susie, if you're watching, you guys, I'm going to give you a call right now. Just look up his number. Again, check out the YouTube page. It's Black Hand and Beyond, a history of POA. That's what we call that. And then, of course, Facebook is Black Hand and Beyond is featured on the POA history group. Black Hand.
Hello.
Hey, I can hear my voice, so you might want to turn it down a little bit. But hey, Dave.
You might want to turn it down. Our speaker.
Okay.
Our speaker.
How you doing, Dave?
Yeah,
we got some reverb.
Well, I think I'm going to make it now.
Okay, well that's good. I know we were all praying for you. I let the cat out of the bag and told POA people we need to pray for Dave and Bonnie. And you're back home, right, Dave?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Well, I know.
And we appreciate it, Kent.
Oh, good. Is that Susie?
Yes, it is.
Well, I know he's surrounded by great people, so family, and that's what we're going to kind of talk about tonight. This isn't going to be an all-inclusive show about the family and all the POAs you had. That'd take, hours and hours. This is going to be a short show. It's election day. People probably want to go home and watch, or they're home now, but tune in to watch election results. But we'll talk here as long as we can. And Dave, I just wanted to start out asking you a few questions. You got into POAs in Minnesota, right? That's where you're originally from?
Right.
Right. And go ahead.
1967, the International was held in Elberly, Minnesota. That's where I was. That's where I lived.
Right.
And my brother was married to Cindy Langley, which is Ronnie Langley's sister, and he was riding 4J Leopard Boy. That's kind of what we turned around and bought 2D's Apache Powwow just that year.
Okay. So that's kind of what spurred you on. The International was right there in your backyard, and then you had in-laws or relatives that had a famous POA. I mean, he wasn't famous yet, but he'd become famous. 4J Leopard Boy, right? He was a good one. He ended up going to Pennsylvania, didn't he, or out east anyway, to Cheeseboroughs. Okay, so then did you start breeding right away, or did you just keep showing, or?
No, I just bought and showed there for a while. Then when I bought that,
When you bought the gelding, Apache.
yeah, and then we showed him in 1972. He was reserve grand at the International in Hutchinson, Kansas.
Okay, in 72. Was that one of your first real big wins then?
Yes.
Yeah, that kind of got the blood flowing, I bet.
Yes.
The juice was going, yeah. I remember pictures of him from the magazine. Of course, I was born in 72, not to age you, but so I don't remember the show, but when we got in the 80s and I collected all the magazines. I don't have a picture of him tonight, unfortunately. Like I say, I only have about 35 or 40 pictures on here, but
Okay.
we'll have a little recap. Eventually, maybe next spring, we can do a little better show. Maybe I'll even come down to your house. And for those of you that haven't been at the Morris's house, which a lot of people have over the years, they've been like a safe haven for travelers, POA travelers stopping in and camping out there. You got a cool garage, don't you, Dave? I just drooled when I seen your POA collection there. So.
We love that garage. It's not a garage anymore. We call it our trophy room.
Your trophy room, yeah.
Yeah. But I was going to tell you that Apache is the one that all 8 of us kids rode and did a lot on Apache. Apache was a very loved member of the family. He moved to Oklahoma with us. He was around. I think they were able to put a couple of Mom and Dave's grandchildren on him. So,
Oh, wow.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
He's buried here on the farm.
Oh, he's buried in Oklahoma. Okay. So you guys moved there in about 75. We're jumping ahead a little bit, but
Yeah.
Right.
Bonnie, why
That's
don't you
okay.
go ahead and name off it's a blended family. I know the Cranes and the Morrises. Why don't you name off all the kids for us real quick?
It is. There is 8 of us. And the oldest, we'll go with Dave, Kevin Morris. He lives in Minnesota. Michelle Morris, she's from Texas. Then there's me, Susie Crane. And then there is Jody and Chris and Rich and Tom and Keith. So
Okay.
there's 8 of us.
8 of you. Okay. I know you, of course, and of course everybody knows Tom.
Rich
and then
Tom.
and then of course Richie. I knew him. I called him Richie. He was a
Right.
few years older than me.
I call him Richie all the time.
Okay, well, he won't be mad then. He might be watching today. And then your 2 sons just asked to come on here. So Shane
They
and
did.
Colin. Yep.
Shane
So
and Colin.
good thing I seen it. I just went to go live and I had a red dot in the upper right corner. And I'm starting to learn this technology. I'm like, I better check that out. And I clicked it and I
That's
said,
okay.
yeah, I need those 2 on here. So
Yeah, I think Shane should be he said he was watching. So.
okay. Well, I don't have a lot of pictures of them. Like I don't have a picture of him and Nick and Jack. So I need some, but we'll have a bigger show again later. So
Yeah.
I'm just glad you're on here, Dave, and able to enjoy this. So
I was going to
He's
say
looking forward to it.
I was interested in starting to breed, but Bonnie had a different idea. She wanted a show only,
Okay.
which was okay. We did that, and we bought a lot of ponies and we showed a lot of ponies.
Right.
And once we made a supreme champion, we probably sold them or got rid of them because we wanted to do another.
Right. That's a cool
So,
thing. And you guys had a lot of Supreme Champ. You're a bronze premier breeder, right? That means you've had so many ROM champions and Supreme champions, and you guys have quite a few Hall of Fame champions too. I just wrote down all the ROM halter champions from the POAC.org site, and man, you guys have had a lot of ROM, in halter. And then, because that I usually figure that's a pretty good POA that can earn their ROM. That means they went down the road a little bit. So I'm going to move on to pictures here. Let's see.
We were the family that loved to travel.
Right. And you and your mom went to a lot of shows. I know that even when you were older, you know what I mean, and had a family of your own. You guys had hit 30, 40 shows a year a lot of times, wouldn't you?
Right.
Right.
Susie and I figured it all up. We went to 27 different states.
Wow. That's a lot. When you figure there's some states that don't have shows, and even back in the day didn't. There's a few, a handful of states that didn't. So yeah, I know you guys so Bonnie hit the road showing a lot, and you still bred. I mean, you usually kept a few mares every year, right? And had a few babies.
Right.
Yeah. I'm putting you on the spot here. What's the most you ever had in one year? How many babies? Do you remember?
Oh my gosh. What?
I like to do that, but I know even lately you've had 2 babies every year. You keep 2 good mares there, and of course you just lost your good stallion, but
Maybe 10.
Probably 10 is the most I had in 1 year.
Yeah, that's a lot to handle when you're working a full-time job and kids and going down the road with a show string, and yeah. Well, I'm skipping through some of these pictures, but this picture of Skipper Britches has gotten a lot of attention because, he is an older horse and he passed away young, and a lot of people wanted to know who that was. This is one of my favorite pictures of a POA right here. He's out probably at your place there in Edmond. And
he was outstanding.
Yeah,
he was beautiful.
Yeah, he's one of my favorite Chief Little Britches, and that's saying a lot because there was a lot of great Chief Little Britches, especially sons. He had a lot of sons that went out there. People wanted a piece of that bloodline, and he had a good quarter horse mama. I know that. And Richie was saying earlier, Rich on Facebook about after he passed away, then you guys had Bunny Britches for a while, but then he went to Tennessee. Bunny Britches. That's the one that had the flaxen mane and tail.
Yeah.
But of course, this guy's tribute to the POA breed, his contribution would be 2D's Skipper Babe. She's in the Hall of Fame, and there's a picture of her with Tommy.
Right, and he was only 3 when he died.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that was a loss. I know Dave's talked to me about that. It was pretty emotional when it was a freak accident. We don't have to get into all that, but I mean, things happen in the horse business. We all know that. If it was easy, everybody would breed pretty horses.
Exactly.
He had 6 registered foals.
6 registered foals. Wow. And this one, of course, she was so pretty too. Yeah, I know she ended up in the Hall of Fame and she won a lot of stuff, but I still never thought she quite got her due. Like, here's the picture of her in Ohio in '85, and just her looking through that bridle and that headset, and she was like the perfect built little POA. Just so smooth. And I can't remember all the families that showed her. Maybe Susie, you can help us out there, but quite a few people showed her.
The Daniels, Andreas family had her. Alicia Fortune, Denny and Renee.
Yeah.
She was, I think, with the Greens, maybe, or the Sharptons in Tennessee. Maybe the Greens.
I think so. Yeah. She got around to different states, and I know she's buried in Indiana next to Doc's Foxy Lady, so 2 Hall of Famers there. Denny and Renee, are good horse people. They have a good eye for horses, and so they got some of those older ones.
Perfect home.
Yeah. So Denny actually sponsored tonight, an ROM sponsor in the memory of her, and I have that picture coming up. Let's see. There it is right there with Elise Fortune when she was a young girl, And I know they did well at some shows, some big shows, and that
I
was
love that picture.
yeah,
That was on
that's
the cover.
yeah, it was on the cover. That's a great picture. Yeah, nice outfit there, and of course she's roan by then, but she was getting up in her years there. That's a year or two before she passed. I think Denny told me.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
After I lost Salty Skipper Britches, a friend of mine from Miami, Oklahoma, called me and said, "I know where there's a small Appaloosa. You ought to come and look." Well, I didn't want to seem real greedy, so I parked my trailer at his house, and then we drove over to Bill Cass's. That's him. To look at him, 2D's co-rebel.
Okay.
He's the known son of Kalida.
Who Bill Cass had, right? Kalida,
Yeah,
famous. Yeah.
In the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Co-rebel's a Supreme Champion, Premier Sire, and in the Hall of Fame.
Right. And he was a model looking horse. Now, he was one of those POAs I had on the hardship episode because he wasn't, that's back in the 54 days. So he was all horse, but he was still under 54. And and you can just tell, even in this black and white photo there with you holding him, that, you can tell he's a small horse. He's, just the way his stature is and stuff. So that's the stallion you replaced Skipper Britches with, basically, right?
Yes, and he had 33 registered foals.
33 registered foals. Well, you guys showed him, he was a Supreme, and you showed him when he was older too, right? I think I have a picture of Tommy. Here's 1990, so I don't know what year he was born. He was born in the 70s, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's a teenager in this picture in Iowa at the International Show, which is now the Congress, of course, for people, newer people. Yeah, he had anything with Co, 2D's Co, like Co Bar, Co Bell, Co Brandy, Co Rusty. Those are all his, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So he did a good job for you.
The next stallion that I got when I bred is I took a Blondie's Dude mare that I owned. Richie was working at the Lurie Quarter Horse Ranch.
Okay.
And they were standing Country Coosa, or standing Coosa.
Coosa, right?
And I took her up there and...
getting ahead of you, but that's sorry.
No, that's fine. I'm just catching up with him.
That's him.
That's him, yeah.
And he's got 20 registered foals.
Wow. And he's done a lot. I don't even know if we've talked about this. I haven't updated the list the last 2 years, but I know it wouldn't hurt him. It'd help him, if anything. On the leading sires list, he's the #1 quarter horse for POA champions at the International Show, National Congress show. He's, of all the quarter horse stallions ever used in the POA breed, his foals have won the most classes. So, of course, Rojo has done a lot, Nickajack, and then, of course, Rio. Coosa Rio, but the story. Go ahead, Susie.
Well, and we lost the splendid Coosa, which was when Shane started showing him as a junior pony. He was a 4-year-old in 2004, and we lost him as a 4-year-old, and they were just clicking. Him and Shane were starting to click in November,
and then
we lost him.
Yeah.
He caught like at the show.
He caught all that. Yeah. That's why showing is so hard, going down the road, and you never know different horses and things and the environment. But is that when you guys replaced him with Nickajack then? Or
no? Well, actually, in 2005, before Nickajack, he rode Avatar's Happy Perfection.
Okay.
For 1 year, and then we bought Nickajack at the end of 2005.
Okay, and Nickajack happened because. My dad stopped by your guys' place several times during why we had the horse hauling company from Minnesota. We went to Texas every other week for 10 years. And when he seen Country Coosa, he stayed there. He'd just sleep right there in the truck, and, he knew he was safe there. And when he seen Country Coosa, I think you guys brought him out of the stall with a rope around his neck, and he called me on his bag phone in the truck and said, I seen a horse we need to breed to. You're not going to guess who it is. It's a POA person, but he's not a POA. He's a quarter horse. Of course, I'm guessing because I didn't quite know where he was. I knew he was headed to Texas. But it was this horse, Country Coosa. He just liked his disposition, his temperament, and he said he was so smooth. He goes, some of these guys are using these big muscled quarter horses. He said, we're going to raise some nice ones by this one. And two of my favorites were by him. You know, the one didn't go on to be famous, but he was about my most famous one, or my favorite I raised. That's Country Whiz. He was the first one.
I remember him.
Yeah, I have pictures of him coming up. Here's another picture of Country Coosa in your pin there. But yeah, like Dad said, he just thought he was smooth, you know, and he made a good cross to our mares. We were hoping for a couple fillies to breed back to Kiddo when we got him back, but you know, as life happens, we got two colts, but they were both colored, and one's in the Hall of Fame, and the other one sold high seller as a yearling, and then just didn't, you know, they didn't go on with him. There's Country Whiz. I skipped ahead, so that's the colt. Yeah. And here's you know, he had a beautiful head. We crossed the speculation daughter, to him. And that was a good cross. There he is at the sale.
I think he was in Texas, wasn't he, for a little bit?
Yeah.
And we showed.
Yeah.
Was he? I think he was the same age as our blended Coosa, maybe.
He was a 99 model. So Nickajack was in 2000. He was the year before. They were out of different mares, but we hauled two different mares down there 2 years in a row. Yeah. So he was purchased by Doc Jones, who was living in Georgia at the time, but he sent him to Pat's place. And I always remember Doc Jones had Hank Frieder helping him out at the time, but he sent this horse to Pat. But Hank took him out of the stall a couple times, and you know, he was pretty quiet guy, Hank. He didn't say much, but they bid on him, and I think Bagwells were looking at him too. And
Hank was the best.
He was the best, yeah. Another great horseman that we lost, but just, you know, and very knowledgeable on things besides POA's bits and things. And so I think he told Doc to buy this one, and then he showed he was undefeated in a couple, like 2 or 3 weekends in a row, and then they just decided to quit showing him. Doc took him out of there, never showed him again that I know of, and he ended up being gilded, which I wish I would have knew that, because I would have found him a home, you know, because he had Stallion written all over him. You know, and then you guys did a good job with his half brother, you know, with Coosa Rio. So I knew it was in the genes there. There he is at Pat's place in Texas when he was starting to fit him up as a 2-year-old. That was not long. And then here's Nickajack, is a long, sprawled out yearling. He was always hard for me to set up. I never showed Nickajack. You know, I sent him to Texas as a 2-year-old, and Pat conditioned him, and then he couldn't get in as a 2-year-old, and I was disappointed because I thought he would have won grand. But he, you know, he's a son of your quarter horse stallion, of course. And then
we love him.
Yeah, look at that head. And he had one of the most unique heads. I call it a little snaky, you know, but it's so beautiful. Well, he's still alive, I guess, because there's a picture of him as an old man now. He's in Tennessee, down by.
He's retired.
He's retired.
With the Brewers.
Yeah.
The Brewers.
Brewers, and they live near. Yep, they live near the Nickajack Dam, and that's what he was named after, Nickajack Dam, so in Tennessee. But well, I'm going to go back here and show some pictures. We skipped ahead. We need to talk about Coosa Rio a little better. Here's some pictures I took when we went. I've only been on your place once, Dave, and I tried to get, this was right before he passed away, and I couldn't capture his head. He had a lot better head than what photos showed, I think.
Well, he just wanted you to touch his face.
Well, he did, and I had been, right. I was scratching him. I made a mistake. I started petting him, and then I'm like, oh, I better capture a picture, and I get the phone out. Well, he didn't want any of that. And if you see this one picture here, it looks like he has a lump under his jaw. That's a baby in with him, one of his babies. You can see it right under his head there. That's how, he had a great disposition.
Yeah, the nose.
Yeah.
So Kristen Sears did all of the training and the work with Rio. When it was time, we decided to start showing him. So Kristen did the fitting, and she trained him. She broke him to ride and everything. So Kristen did most all of the work with Rio.
Okay, there she is in the picture in the win photo that was on the sales catalog.
Pat showed him at the International that year, but Kristen had done the fitting on that pony for the last couple of years before this.
Right. There's Kristen at the Futurity. It would be after he won grand at the International.
Right. At the International.
Yeah, that's her winning the Futurity, his class. Yeah.
You guys will laugh when we talk about him. When he was born, I looked at him and I said, "Oh my God, I love that pony."
Well,
Susie says, "What a fine gelding." Bonnie says,
I believe in gelding.
"It'd be a great gelding." So they talked to my vet and said, "We'd like to geld this pony." He said, "I ain't cutting him."
I ain't cutting him. Yeah. Well, I'm glad he didn't, because there's some.
I am too.
Yeah, there's some very good ones.
I wouldn't have let him.
He's actually out of J.N. Gold Splendor.
Right, and she's an own daughter of Gold Prince.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. Well, he definitely has that cross, good
But he
mix.
still would have made a beautiful gelding.
Oh, he would have made a beautiful gelding. I talked about this last week. I think I was probably 10 I was probably 14 or 15. I still couldn't stand geldings. I thought they had no purpose because I wanted to be a breeder, and then later I realized, you have to gild some of them, but, yeah. So there he is as a young one with Pat. He's a yearling there. Yeah. And then, of course, there's his dad again. So now we're going to look at some pictures of your kids, Susie. I don't know how many I have of Shane. I think this is Colin here with his Salty.
Yep, that's a Salty pony.
Yeah.
That's Colin.
Yeah.
Yep.
He did well with him, too.
Dave bought Stormy Britches Jr. at the sale in 1970, 80, maybe 1980. But we stood Stormy Britches Jr. there with Shane. There he is with Shane. But when Shane started getting old enough to start riding by himself, we gelded him. We gelded him at 16 years old.
Wow.
And we put little Shane on him in 8 and under. And by the time they were done with their walk trot at the end of Shane's 8 and under year, and he was supposed to have to lope in 9 through 12. Well, Renee Brown, bless her heart, she worked with them in Florida at the Turkey Circuit, and she said, "Shane, you're going to lope by January." But anyhow, Stormy, we gelded him because we didn't want to get rid of him.
Right.
So we gelded him and kept him and both of my kids rode him in lead line and in 8 and under classes, walk trot classes.
Okay.
So.
Yeah.
I have to tell you,
Go ahead.
I have to tell you a story on him.
Okay, that's good.
Lynn called me one day. Dave, he says, "I got a buyer for Stormy Britches Jr. You'll pay $6,000. I said, "Okay, let me talk to the girls." And I talked to them, and I got quite a cold response. Okay?
Yeah.
Well, I just let it go at that, and I come home the next day. He wasn't there. He's gone. And I asked him, "Where's Stormy?" "He's okay," he said.
We hit him.
They moved him and
He's okay.
We moved him.
Right.
he ended up going to a vet friend that Richie and Chris went to school with. And he had a little girl that was somewhat handicapped, but she loved that pony and they got along just great. And that's where he ended up, and they buried him there.
Oh, okay. All right.
We didn't let Dave sell him.
Right. You didn't let Dave sell him. Yeah. Well, he was a big part of your family. Here he is that's him, isn't it? Right there with Tommy?
With Kim. I think it's with Kim.
Well, Kim, and then I moved on to another one.
Oh, there's Tom. Okay.
Yeah.
Leonard and Joan Lewis is the first family that I really met when I got into POA. So
Okay.
they were fairly new getting into it, too. And when I bought him, Leonard comes up to me and says, "What the hell are you going to do with him?"
Truth be known, he probably wanted him, really.
Leonard, he didn't mince words much.
No, he didn't. No, he didn't.
But
Yeah, he was a good little stallion, and then he went on to be. This is a great picture here too.
He's very talented. He was
Yeah.
very talented.
You guys had another famous POA around the same time too. Unfortunately, I don't have any pictures of him tonight, but Hall & Oates,
Oh, yeah.
he's
yeah.
special for you guys. You had him a long time, didn't you?
We did.
yes,
Yeah.
We yes. And we sent him on to when Shane started a junior pony, and we had a hard time getting him. You know, Odie was getting, but we sent him to the Hoopmacher family in Illinois.
Okay.
We didn't sell him. He went to teach the youngest one to give her some confidence and for them to enjoy him. So,
Right.
and he is buried next to one of their very famous ponies out there in Illinois in their back pasture.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well, there's some famous grave sites around the country, so there's been a lot of great POAs, you know, and you guys have had as many as anybody. So,
we've enjoyed it.
right.
That's Colin. And
Yeah, Colin, I better go back. He's watching, so I better go slow. Yeah, there he is, bareback. Give him his due. We had Shane on there a while, but there's more pictures of Colin with the
Those were
salt.
Florida pictures. We never missed the turkey circuit unless,
That's a
for
fun time.
years.
The turkey circuit was. Do they still have that show, or is that done now? The turkey circuit.
Well, I don't know if it's that weekend, but
Okay.
the Florida Club were very, very wonderful hosts.
Right.
They just loved that show.
Well, that show is a very famous show because everything's pretty much wrapped up by the time it comes along.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
so and it was good for points to go there for sure. So,
Right.
I'm trying to get back online here, so bear with me. I mean, the show's going, but I'm trying to get to the group so I can see comments. Let's see here. There we go. All right. Yep, there we go. I'm watching live now, so I can see. I can click on our comments. So, Dave, anything else you want to add about? Like I said, we're not doing a whole encyclopedia about your family. You and I could talk about POAs for weeks. We'd both get hoarse.
well, I have to just let everybody know, since I lost Rio, these last two babies that they had.
The last two you got?
Well, they went to Minnesota
Okay.
in September, so they've got a new home and they're both in Minnesota, and they were very, very, very nice babies.
Right.
They were beautiful babies.
Right. That's kind of fitting where you started out, Dave. Your two last babies went up there. That's pretty special, I
Right.
think.
Yep, they went home. To
Right.
us, that's home.
They
It'll
went
always
home.
be-
Yeah. I'm gonna turn
I
that
gotta
on.
tell you first, Skipper Babe's mom was a hardship unknown pony that we bought when my mother bought when I was 8 years old.
Okay.
We went to try this little mare out. We were living in Minnesota. It was March. There was still a little bit of snow on the ground. Well, the mare dumped me, and I got a little slight concussion. And my mom said, "Oh, we'll take her." And so we took that little mare home, and she's also in the Hall of Fame.
Yes.
She's a proven producer. But that's Barcade Daisy Bar, and
Okay.
my mom traded an Appaloosa gelding she bought in Cannon Falls.
Wow.
This guy wanted that gelding, and my mom said, "Oh, I don't know." She goes, I'll give you what you paid for him, and I'll trade you this little POA mare I have." And my mom's like, "Okay, well, come look at her." But anyhow, she dumped me when I was 7 or 8, and my mom said, "Okay, we'll take her."
We'll take it. Yeah, you weren't hurt too bad.
We got her in 1971.
71. That's her right there on the screen.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's Babe. That's Skipper Babe and Rusty's mom.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and she's in the Hall of Fame as well. So.
Yeah.
She was probably bred to be a POA, don't you think, Dave, or do you think she's a small
Yeah.
horse?
Her dad was a small Appaloosa,
Okay.
and so yeah.
Yeah. Yep, she did a lot. Who's that right? Is that Tommy or who is that?
That's Tom.
That's
Oh,
Tom.
it's
And I
Tom.
think we
Yeah.
were in Illinois that year, Springfield, Illinois, at the International in Springfield in 85, maybe.
Okay.
I think that was 1985 in Illinois.
The International was in 80, let's see, 84 it was on Iowa. Let's
I
see.
think it was it was at one of the anniversaries. I was
Okay,
thinking
83. I think it
Oh,
was
83.
83. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, probably right. Yeah.
Yeah. There's Stormy Britches again. I'm going to go back to some of these babies at the end here. And I don't have all the babies you had,
Oh,
but at the end.
there's Tom. Tom set us straight. Thank you, Tom.
What did he say, 83?
Yes,
Yeah. Yep, it was 83.
but I'm getting old.
Oh, you're older than me, so.
That was one of Rio's babies,
Okay.
and I wanted to show her so bad, and some people come and they were going to show her, so I sold her, and they had her next in a two stall next to another filly. Took the filly out, and this one here got tangled up in a bucket and a rope
Oh.
and deformed her neck.
Okay. That's too bad because I wanted to include this picture because, boy, she's a model of a young filly there.
Oh,
Nice
she
top
was
line.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful baby. That's the daughter out of Rio.
Okay. And then here's one by the barn there with one of your mares. Got a bunch of socks. It'll be coming up here.
Yeah.
That's J.N. Gold Splendor,
Okay.
and that's the brother to 2D's Co-Rebel, or 2 Rusty and Co-Bar.
Oh, okay. All
His
right.
name is Co. I tried to find him
I don't
after
remember.
I sold him.
Right.
And I couldn't find him.
That's tough to do sometimes, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
But you can't keep all of them. Here's one of your, I think, Rio babies, one of the more modern ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, she should. I think I think she's a 2-year-old.
She's a 2-year-old now. Yeah.
I think. Yeah.
That mare had 5 few-spot leopards for me and 1 leopard stud colt.
Wow. And she's a few spot, it looks like, right?
Yes.
And then you were crossing her on a leopard.
She's probably retiring here with her other 2. So.
Okay.
No, I'm going to sell her.
You're
I'm
gonna
going to sell her.
Yeah. Well, she probably has some
think
more
that-
babies in her. Good ones.
I think Ashley McKenzie's going to buy her.
Okay. Well, that's good. Yeah, I know Ashley's come and got some of your babies because it's, I wanted to bring that up to you guys too. You moved from Minnesota down to Edmond, and I don't know what the POA scene was like in Edmond in 1975, but we know what it's like right now. It's been one of the hotbeds for decades, and I think you guys, Dave, you were a big part of that, you and Bonnie. The way you opened your place to people, like I said, from out of state and stuff. And then, of course, Kathy and Ashley's done a good job in Edmond with their stables. It takes stables. I always say it takes the kids and the families to spend the money and hit the road, like you guys know. But it also takes the stables and the trainers and, of course, the breeders. It all starts with the breeders. But if you don't have the families and you don't have a place to put them,
When we moved here, it was mostly a lot of them were around the Tulsa area.
Okay.
Tulsa, and then of course laying up in northwestern Oklahoma. But
right.
A lot of the members in 1970s were from Tulsa and north central Oklahoma. So not very few here in Edmond.
Right.
Sand Springs, that area.
Sand Springs, right? Yeah, I think this group here, the POA History Group that this is broadcast live on, it shows me what towns the members are from. And I forget now, but I think there's 40 some from Edmond and 20 some from Oklahoma City. And that's the 2 biggest cities.
Right.
Yeah, which is just funny that I'm up the road in Enid because I could be in Minnesota or Texas or Delaware doing this, you know what I mean? And it'd still be those 2 cities. But well, guys, I hope you've enjoyed this. I know we've skipped a lot of horses that we could have talked about. We could have had a whole hour on Hall & Oates, a whole hour on Stormy Britches Jr., and then, of course, the 3 main studs that you had. But I hope you enjoyed this, Dave. We need to honor people, when they're still around. So that's what I hope this does. I got this idea years ago. So. Good. Yeah. Well,
I was afraid when I got sick, I was afraid I was going to miss it.
Well, I talked to you a couple weeks ago, and I put a line through the episode. I was like, well, we're not going to have that one because I didn't want to do it without you. And so
we're happy that I think we're on the mend. I think we're doing really
good. Well, you sound good, Dave. You sound a lot better than you did 2 weeks ago. So, no, you got a lot of POA people cheering you on and thinking about you guys and your family. So, thanks so much for coming on here, you guys.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay, you guys have a good night.
You too.
All right, thanks.
That was good.
Huh?
That was.
Okay. So let's get this going here. Boom. I want to thank Dave Morris and Susie Hampton for being our guests tonight. I knew they'd be special guests. Dave got a little emotional there talking about some of his last POAs. You know, he's been doing this since 1967. That's a long time. You know, that's longer than a lot of our viewers have been alive. And you know, his last stallion he kept was a homebred that became a grand champion. Like Susie mentioned, Kristen Fears conditioned him and promoted him there for him, and he ended up winning grand champion stallion. And then he raised some nice babies out of him, usually a couple a year down there in Edmond. So just a huge part of POA is the Morris family. I remember in the 80s, people from Minnesota would swing down there at their place if they were heading on to somewhere else, or if they were showing in Oklahoma City, they might camp out in Edmond before they went the next day on to the fairgrounds. So again, a little short show tonight. I hope you guys all enjoyed this show. And if you can think of anybody that would like to be a guest and want to be on here, I like to honor people, especially people that had an impact in POAs. And there's still quite a few people around that I'd enjoy to talk to on here. And like I mentioned earlier, we have the Pennsylvania meetup, Schuylkill Valley Northeast meetup in Reading, Pennsylvania. That's going to be November 22nd. I'm looking forward to that. We're going to leave Minnesota here on Sunday and then stay in Indianapolis the night. That splits the trip pretty much for us. It's a long trip from Oklahoma, to Pennsylvania. So then we're going to get into Pennsylvania Monday at my mother-in-law's house, and then Tuesday we're going to meet up with hopefully as many POA people as we can find that would like to come to that event. If you know anybody that you think would have interest, there's no charge or anything, just lunch is on your own. We're going to be at a restaurant and bakery, so it's going to be at 2 o'clock, so either an way early dinner or a late lunch. I'm going to broadcast it. My wife Monica is going to have my phone, and we're going to go live from there, and that'll be our episode that night. So that'll be in 2 weeks from today, I believe, on the 22nd. Again, the Gardner family in December. I think I have some sponsors already lined up for that. And then the Big Stallion Roster Show. For just only $50, you can advertise your stallion on here. We had 20 stallions last year. I've already got quite a few that's paid to be on the show this year. It is a sponsored episode, but I believe you get your bang for the buck because I talk about it, your POA, your stallion, for about 5 minutes, show 5 photos, up to 5 photos, and then a pedigree, and I read, the facts about the stallion and stuff like that, what they provide for me. So again, happy birthday to everybody today. 4 birthdays that I know of. If I missed your birthday, I didn't see it on Facebook, but Tracy, Tammy, Mark, and Amy, again, I hope you had a good day. And again, thank you to Dave Morris and Susie Hampton for being my special guests. Enjoy the rest of the evening. We may be on next week. I'm not sure. I'm waiting on a guest, word back from that person. If not, we'll see you live in Pennsylvania. We won't be in Studio J that night, but we'll be at the diner there, and that should be a cool and fun show as well. So everybody have a good night. Enjoy the song.